alcohol spills. Welcome to the Whiskey Vault. Today is Hidden Drams. So this was sent in by Paul Nimmons, who is a great human being that I give 3 out of 5 stars. Wouldn't change a thing. I'm Daniel Winnington, Chancellor of the Wizard Academy Whiskey Marketing School. I, full disclosure, got to meet and hang out with Mike, the owner, or one of the owners and founders of one of... Ah! It wasn't me this time. Okay, so Mike just let his phone go off for the first time. And what have we been shooting for, what, a year and a half now? For the first time, the cameraman's phone interrupted our shoot instead of my phone. So I am now redeemed for the many, many times that I've done the exact same thing. And we're even though he only did it once. And I did it many more times. Okay, so I got to meet Mike here, one of the founders and owners of Far North Spirits up in Minnesota. It's a grain to whatever. What do they call it these days? He makes his own grain, grows it, uses it in his distillery. And he's very serious about rye and like single varietal options. And we hung out in here and I really enjoyed spending time with him. So it's going to be hard to be objective about this, but he did not send me the bottle to get me to put it on the channel. So this is not a sponsored episode. Paul Nimmons did, and I'm always fine with talking about it when one of our people sends in a bottle. However, because I know Mike, we hung out once. Because I know Mike, I have his email, and I was able to email him and Sherry and say, hey, I got this bottle, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. Can you tell me about it? And boy, did he. So, what I love about them is that he has spent years working aggressively on like single varietals and rye varietals that don't belong in Minnesota and ones that haven't been used in whiskey before. And I remember when we were in here, I told him I had this one that was really weirdly interesting. And then I told him which one it was. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry that you drank that bottle. I always hated that one. We thought it would be interesting, and then we'd made it, and it wasn't great, and I still regret that we released it. And I was like, well, I thought it was interesting. So everyone's mileage may vary. We'll talk about this in a second. First, what do we smell? And by the way, it's already just kind of, it's coming out of the glass at a level of aggression that kind of almost equals the peat smoke on really smoky whiskey. Like, I can smell this whiskey from here. Yep. So, whoa, that was weird. Initially, I just got that rye spice and that kind of barrel funk, and then it went, as I set it down, it went hard left into celery. At the end of the after smell. Woo! This is so weird. So unique. By the way, if you hear sounds in the background, it is insanely windy out there right now. And when you're in the top of the tower, every part of this building echoes wind as it goes by. So you can hear the I can right now. It's almost distracting. It's so loud. Okay. Now I'm getting a little bit more of the honey. There is this sort of earthy mulch note behind the grain that's also sort of pushing the herbal notes forward. But all of the rye notes are sort of a softened baking spice rye mixed with some vegetal, and for some reason, this weird tinge of celery in my brain. Oh, it drinks really soft. A little almost thin. I'm wanting a little more oil than I'm getting and a little more density than I'm getting. The nose is about twice as dramatic as the palate, but it's a very drinkable palate. It does have an aftertaste of earth. There you go. You can really agitate this one because it's so low and a little bit thin and it doesn't dominate. But then it changes into sort of a vegetation, like green and grass. Okay, I'm going to give you what Mike sent me, and I'm going to read it because it's long. But you're going to get all the nerdy details. Are you ready? The Oklon Rye variety, which is what this is, Oklon single variety rye whiskey. The Oklon Rye variety was released in 1993 after being developed from 1982 to 1992 by Samuel Roberts Noble Foundation and the Oklahoma Agricultural Experiment Station, OAES, at Oklahoma State University. OSU. I almost went Longhorns there for a second, started making direct. Anyway, it's an open pollinated rye as opposed to a hybrid. It was developed as a forage rye, which means it was intended for cover crop and grazing, but you can also harvest the grain. We're growing it about 1,000 miles north of where it was bred, so it's a lower yield up here, and I could tell that the guy I originally spoke with at OAES was trying to figure out how to tell me I was an idiot for wanting to grow it in Minnesota, but without sounding rude. And then I explained I was going to make whiskey out of it, and he got very interested. 2024 had the highest yield of Oklon for us at 50 bushels per acre, and other years it yielded around 40, and he attached pictures of it. It had one of the highest processing swear factors in our rye study. It's tough to mill, sticky as and a pain to cook. I didn't like the way it tasted when it came off the still, and to be honest, I was relieved I didn't have to work with it again, but then we aged it. And some sort of magic happened in the barrel because it came out with a completely unique flavor profile, unlike anything else in the rye study. So I grew it again, and I had some of it malted at Vertical Malt in Crookston, Minnesota, and the result is what you have in front of you, 95 Oklon and 5% Oklon malt. Distilled at 154 proof on a 500-gallon Vendome pot still, entry barrel proof of 118, aged 18 months in 15-gallon Char 3 New Oak barrels, exit proof 114, so it dropped a little, 0.5, which makes sense, it's Minnesota, bottled at 94 proof. I also laid down 53-gallon barrels that would be ready in 2028 as bottled in bond release. I'm really looking forward to tasting how that will develop in a larger barrel format. So am I. Put it on record right now, 3 years from now, when that's ready, Mike, I want to try that 53-gallon, and I'd love to know whose barrels you're using for the 53-gallon barrels. There is a barrel company that these guys use that I've not always been a fan of, but I've found that barrel company's barrels, the things that make it ruin malt and bourbon for me, actually tend to play nicely with rye, and it's because it's notes that are more common in rye. And so I think those barrels tend to sort of push forward and accent the rye notes of rye grain in a way that's not a problem for me when it happens in bourbon and malt. And I can smell it in this one and taste it in this one, but it's contributing to the rye direction. Now I'm getting almost a weirdly, if you mixed honey nut Cheerios with celery, and it's just a soft nose. It's very interesting. Okay. Rock and roll. That's very cool. It's very interesting. I really appreciate the send of this whiskey. It was planted September 2021, harvested August 2022, distilled February 2023, bottled August 2024, 18 months in 15-gallon barrels. Woo! Interesting. I will tell you, this is just Paul Nimmons, or we were talking about this after the whiskey was sent, and so take this as just a small aside PSA. A couple of people in my life recently, more than one, 3 actually, have stumbled into health situations that they're in the middle of trying to figure out, and they've been varying levels of a really terrible diagnosis to like not a great diagnosis, but not the end of the world. And all 3 of, well, 2 of the ones 3 of the ones I know that I'm personal friends with had symptoms early on and just were like, it's probably fine. So can I just go on record, because this is present in my world right now, and it's present in Paul's world. If you're not sure, just go to the doctor. The best thing that could happen in that scenario is someone goes, it's just a headache, drink more water. Or it's just whatever, stop eating so much gas station fried food. Right? But like this idea that like, it's fine, I'll be fine, I'll figure it out. Sometimes it's too far and you can't. Don't let that be you. That's just, it happens to be in top of mind right now, and so there it is. Fair? Go get that checked out. There's no point in bravado when it comes to things like that. Thank you, Paul and family, for this one, and Mike for distilling it and making interesting and enigmatic rye whiskey. Cheers to you. I'm really glad you're here. For YouTube's most enigmatic whiskey channel, like and subscribe. Also, today starts Dry Week, noon today, and it goes all the way through May 9th, the next Friday at noon. In the meantime, we will not have episodes next week, and I will see you on the other side.